At the wedding, my girlfriend suddenly grabbed the mic and declared her love for her childhood friend. Jim, even though I'm getting married today, you'll always be the man I love the most. After that, she turned to me, acting like nothing happened, and said, Eric, this was a promise Jim and I made when we were kids. We agreed to be the most important people in each other's lives. I just wanted to prove it to him to put his mind at ease. Let's get on with the wedding. I watched Judy, feeling so sure of herself, and Jim with his smug look. I gave a small laugh. A gentleman should help others find happiness. If you're each other's number one, I'll let Jim take my place as the groom. Judy's face immediately fell. Eric, what are you saying? On such a big, happy day, do you have to make it so awkward? A happy day? Before Judy said what she did, I was beyond excited. I thought today would be the happiest day of my life. I was marrying the woman I loved and becoming real partners. But now, it seems this happiness belongs to Jim and Judy. For me, it's a circus and I'm just the clown, performing a sad solo act for others to laugh at. Yeah, it's your and Jim's big day. Isn't it better for me to just let you be? Judy was instantly furious. Eric, it's just a small thing. Do you have to make it such a big deal? I've grown up with Jim, we've got over 20 years of history. Of course, he's the most important person to me. Can't you be more understanding? Wow, over 20 years of history. I guess my 7-year relationship with her doesn't count. I looked at Judy calmly. Yeah, you two are the leads of the story today. I'm just a nobody here. I took the mic from the host. Dear friends and family, there's been a change in today's wedding. The groom is now Jim. Feel free to continue dining, and my guests, please move to the banquet hall next door for food. Gifts will be returned, and consider it my treat. With that, I went to calm my furious parents. They've been teachers, living dignified lives. And today, because of me, they're humiliated in front of everyone we know. My mom's eyes turned red looking at me. Son, let's not go through with this wedding. Dad, usually so mild-mannered, was furious. If she cares so much about that man, then let's just leave with dignity. My parents have never been thrilled about how Judy was so concerned with Jim. They felt she didn't really care about me and urged me to break up with her many times. But back then, I was all about Judy always refusing without a second thought. I believed that as long as I treated Judy well enough, one day she'd focus all her attention on me. After all, I believed people had warm hearts. But reality hit me hard. Judy's heart is stone cold, never warming up. All she sees is Jim. She considers him her most important person. Even at what was supposed to be our wedding, she confessed to Jim, yet she had no problem pointing fingers at me, thinking she did nothing wrong. I closed my eyes, trying to swallow the bitter lump in my throat. If Judy can't let go of Jim and steps all over my love for her, I'll let them have each other. After saying this, I meant to turn and leave with my parents. Judy yanked off her veil, threw it on the ground, and yelled in my face, Eric, don't you dare. I turned to look at her calmly. What, you're upset that I'm giving you the spotlight? Judy's eyes were icy cold as she looked at me. You're really going to ruin a wedding over something so trivial? I never knew you were so petty. Petty? Judy really considered her confession to Jim, right in front of everyone, a trivial matter. She thought my response was me being dramatic, that I wasn't being understanding enough. How ironic. Jim stood aside, stirring the pot. Yeah, Eric, Judy, and I grew up together. Our bond is beyond what outsiders can grasp. You don't have to be so petty. What Jim meant was that my 7-year relationship with Judy, even being steps away from marriage, meant nothing. And Judy didn't disagree. She nodded in agreement like it was obvious. Eric, apologize to me right here. Promise a bigger, better wedding, or I won't forgive you. After saying that, Judy muttered under her breath, You ruined a perfectly good wedding. Such a downer. My heart sank again. If I had hoped for even a glimmer of realization from Judy, that hope was now gone. I took off my jacket and threw it to the ground. Apologize? Not gonna happen. Judy instantly exploded, furiously pulling Jim away. Fine, Eric. If that's how it is, let's call off the wedding today. I'll be waiting for you to come begging. And with that, She turned and stormed out without a second glance. I watched Judy's determined back and thought about Jim's taunting gaze before he left. My heart still ached. 7 years of dating, this was one of countless fights over Jim. Leaving me alone on Valentine's Day to be with him, taking trips with him, staying by his side during his minor injuries while I was left alone with a broken bone. These things happen way too often. But whenever I confronted Judy, she always claimed she was innocent, that Jim was sensitive, and since they had grown up together, she had an obligation to be there for him. Before, I thought once we were married, Judy would naturally focus on our future together. So I compromised again and again. Now I see endless compromises only lead to her taking more and more, to the point where even on our wedding day she could confess to Jim instead of me, the groom. Judy's confession to Jim had already set off whispering among the guests, and their exit together left everyone stunned. The way people looked at me was full of pity, sympathy, and mockery. It felt like they were slicing away at me, leaving me bloodied and exposed. I turned and went to the next banquet hall to settle my family and friends. After the banquet ended, I sent all my relatives and friends to their cars and returned to an empty house alone. I instinctively checked my phone, but the chat history was just as empty, not a single message. But in my friend circle, Jim had updated his status. There they were, in wedding dresses and suits, embracing each other lovingly in a church. The caption read, "Married my girl." The comment section had our mutual friends chiming in. Saw it coming, saw it coming. I knew Jim and Judy were meant to be. Eric is just a third wheel. The cheers in the comments stung my eyes. In their minds, Judy and Jim were destined lovers. But what about me? What was I, the boyfriend who had been with Judy for 7 years? Probably nothing. After all, Judy could confess to Jim during the wedding and even walk off with him, while I, her almost groom, could only receive her blame and not even a backward glance. I took a deep breath and messaged Judy. "Let's break up." Judy called, irritation evident in her voice. "Are you still mad? It was just a confession to Jim. I told you it was our agreement. I needed to give him security. Over the past 7 years, Judy had sidelined me for Jim countless times. Yet I loved her and I forgave her for canceling time and again. But today, I didn't want to forgive anymore. I croaked out, "Judy, I'm serious. Didn't I make a big enough fool of myself at the wedding today?" I paused, then continued. "I've seen the photos of you and Jim. Don't I make it easier for him by stepping aside? Let him be your real groom." Her voice rose immediately over the phone. "Can your heart not be so filthy? There's nothing between Jim and me. We've known each other for over 20 years. If something were to happen, it would have happened already. Why wait till now? And it's just a wedding. Worst case, we can hold another one in a few days." I've heard the same argument over 100 times. So many times during our dates, Jim called, and she left, claiming he needed her company. Doesn't Jim have other friends? Could he only have Judy? To me, it seemed like Jim was using it as an excuse to take Judy away. The sad part is Judy never found anything wrong with this, choosing him over me again and again. Even today, on what was supposed to be the most important day of our lives, she left me. I stared silently at the suit I'd taken off for a long while and finally spoke. "I've spent 6 months preparing for this wedding, wanting to give you an unforgettable experience, creating our most beautiful memory. But you ruined it all and left me with an unforgettable scene." Silence followed on her end, probably realizing the gravity of her actions. Judy's voice softened. "Eric, I didn't mean to. Wait for me. I'll come back to you now. Tick-tock, tick-tock." The clock on the wall went from 1 to 3, but the house remained empty. Judy didn't return. Then Jim updated his status again. In the photo, Judy was holding a sparkler, smiling brightly at the camera. The caption read, "Fireworks at the beach at midnight. What a crazy idea. Glad to have someone by my side." I closed my eyes, feeling whatever little hope I had left for Judy vanish. I sat in the living room and opened bottle after bottle of wine, originally meant to celebrate our engagement, downing them all. Looking at the mess of empty bottles, I snapped a photo and updated my status. Turns out I was always alone. Friends who knew Judy had left with another man today began showing their concern. You've got brothers with you. There are plenty more fish in the sea. A ping echoed. It was a message from Judy. Why are you being so melodramatic, like a woman? Looking at her insensitive response, I smiled wryly and downed another bottle. Maybe the alcohol was burning my stomach, or maybe the tears just welled up on their own. Whenever Jim needed her, regardless of what Judy was doing or where she was always there for him immediately. But when it came to me, she dismisses it as melodrama. 7 years, and I still haven't grasped my place in her heart. That night, for the first time, I didn't sit in the living room waiting for Judy to come home. I used to keep a light on, afraid she'd be scared coming back to a dark house. Even if waiting until dawn, I'd never mind. Over time, I got headaches from this habit. Maybe it was the alcohol, but I slept deeply that night. I woke up early the next morning, and as expected, Judy hadn't come back. I didn't call her like I used to or question her. I made myself breakfast and ate quickly before heading to work. Just as I was about to leave, Judy came back. She seemed surprised by the empty dining table. Where's my breakfast? Judy has a sensitive stomach, and I used to prepare breakfast for her, fearing she'd feel unwell without food regardless of her whereabouts the night before. But today, I just kept switching shoes and casually replied, I've had mine. Order takeout. Realizing I was upset, Judy tugged at my hand, softly swaying it, speaking more gently than yesterday. Eric, I know I was impulsive at the wedding yesterday, but it was to honor my friendship with Jim for over 20 years. Plus, Jim and I have nothing going on. Really? Don't be mad. In the past, her patient explanations would have won me over. But this time, it only irritated me. I was truly fed up with such excuses. Oh no, I'm gonna be late for work. I'm outta here. Saying that, I pulled my hand away and headed straight for the door. As soon as I got to work, I found out we needed 2 people to go to our international branch for some training. Everyone was signing up. Since I graduated and joined this company, there have been 3 chances to go abroad for training, and now this is the 4th. Most of the folks I started with have already been. They come back after a year and bam, promotion and a pay raise. But I've been hesitating over a long-distance thing with Judy, so I never signed up and let several great chances slip by. Looking back now, I'm 30 and life's kinda messy. In terms of love, I've been pouring myself into someone who's been off and on with me for 7 years, and she couldn't have cared less about the wedding. Career-wise, I'm not doing great. People my age are in management, but I'm still fumbling around on the ground floor. I guess it's time for a change. I signed up for this training too. My boss seemed a little surprised when I did. Eric, did you finally talk it over with your girlfriend? I shook my head. This is my call. I want to step up my game at work. My boss gave me a pat on the shoulder. That's right, man. You gotta build your career first. I bet your girl will get it too. I pursed my lips and didn't say anything back. That whole day, I focused on work, and to my surprise, I didn't think about Judy at all or keep checking my phone to see if she'd messaged me. When I decided to sign up for the trip, all I cared about was whether I'd be chosen, not about being apart from Judy. I think that when I saw Judy kiss Jim yesterday, I finally gave up on her. Surprisingly, I got a message from Judy before the end of the day. Let's grab dinner tonight. Consider it my apology for yesterday. I thought about it and agreed. Perfect timing to clear things up with Judy. Whether or not I end up going abroad, we're done. After work, I spotted her familiar car and got in the back seat. Judy frowned. Why aren't you in the front? I didn't say anything, just glanced at the man's jacket on the passenger seat. I'd seen Jim wearing that jacket. Ever since Judy got her car, if Jim was around, that seat was his. I used to make a fuss over it, but Judy thought I was making a big deal out of nothing. It's just a seat, she'd say. Judy and Jim have been there for each other for over 2 decades, and being closer makes them feel more comfy together. She called me oversensitive. I stopped riding in her car to avoid the drama. And now, even when Jim's not around, he's gotta leave his stuff to bug me. In the past, I'd feel ticked off by this. But now, I just don't care. Judy looked uncomfortable seeing the jacket and tried to put it away. Dropped Jim off yesterday, he left it there. I nodded, understanding but not moving an inch. She glanced back at me. Seemed like she wanted to say something, but ended up just driving. Judy chatted away in the car. I knew this was her way of making peace. From her playful goal earlier to starting conversations now, going all day hanging together is quite a feat for her. Traditionally, if I didn't respond to her making peace, she'd get mad, and I'd have to calm her down. But today, my mind was all on whether I'd get the chance to go abroad, and I gave her just bits and pieces of conversation. Once we got there, I realized it was an observatory. Judy excitedly grabbed my hand. There's supposed to be a meteor shower tonight. Best spot to see it. When I was a kid, Jim and I... She paused, checking my face for any reaction, then relaxed. Yeah, yesterday was my fault. I'm sorry. I remembered your birthday's next week. This is an early gift. Hope you like it. She handed me a box. I opened it and found a watch. Looking at it, I chuckled. Judy, my birthday was half a month ago. I don't need a belated gift. Or a girl who's got another guy in her heart. Judy seemed shocked she'd forgotten my birthday and looked a bit flustered. Eric, I must have been really busy. You should have reminded me. Her slightly blaming tone struck me as absurd. Half a month ago, I'd booked a place to celebrate my birthday with her. She said she'd go, so I thought she remembered. But I was at the restaurant from 6 to 9 and she didn't show. When I called, she said Jim was hurt and she was at the hospital. Then Jim posted on social media. Oh, what a big wound. If I'd been to the hospital later, it would have healed on its own. When Judy got home, I was waiting on the couch and asked her if she remembered what day it was. The blank look on her face made it feel pointless, so I said nothing and hit the bedroom. Turns out, she didn't remember my birthday until today. I took a deep breath, ready to say we were done when Judy's phone rang. Jim's name appeared on the screen, and Judy answered in a flash. Judy, where are you? I feel awful. Can you come be with me? Hearing Jim's over-dramatic voice made me laugh. I've seen this act far too often over the past 7 years. Who else would always call right when Judy and I were having time together, saying they feel down and need her? Only Judy would keep falling for it. Judy grabbed her keys, ready to go. Eric, Jim needs me. Wait here. I'll be back when he's better. She tried to give me a quick kiss, but I dodged it. Originally, Judy wanted to say something more to me, but with Jim moaning on the other end, she didn't dare delay. She opened the car door, hit the gas, and took off. Watching the dust kicked up by the car, it felt like a reminder of all those times Judy failed to show up over the years. I've seen it too many times over these 7 years. Now I'm really worn out. I looked at the brand new watch in the box, smirked, and tossed it into the darkness. To Judy, Jim has always been number one. Soon after Judy left, a meteor shower burst into view. She was right. This is the best spot. The meteors streaked across the sky, brilliantly beautiful. Watching this rare scene, I felt a calmness inside like never before. When I stopped focusing entirely on Judy, I realized there's so much beauty in life. I snapped a photo of the meteor shower and posted it on my social media, enjoying the magic of nature all by myself. The next minute, Jim posted something too. It was a picture of Judy blowing on a bowl of porridge. The caption said, "Always have you by my side. Anytime, anywhere." I knew he posted it to tick me off, hoping I'd call Judy upset, and Jim could enjoy being defended by her. 7 years over and over, never tiring of it. But now, I didn't feel any anger, nor did I want to be the fool seeking trouble again. Surprisingly, Judy commented on my post. Wait for me to come back and watch with you. At first, I wanted to head straight down the mountain, but it was already dark. I couldn't see the road, and there were no cabs here, so I had to wait for Judy to pick me up. But hours went by and she still hadn't shown up. I messaged her asking how long, and got no reply. By midnight, it was damp and much colder than usual on the mountain, and I couldn't help but shiver. Seeing my phone nearing the end of its battery, I just went ahead and called 911. I was afraid I'd end up spending the whole night on the mountain, get hypothermic, and have to go to the hospital. By the time the cops arrived, I was already showing mild hypothermia. They gave me a stern talking to, then took me to the hospital. The next day around noon, Judy finally called me. Eric, where'd you go? Why aren't you back yet? Listening to her questioning voice, I couldn't help but go quiet. Looks like she completely forgot about me last night. Judy, last night you took me to the observatory and left me there alone. Suddenly, there was silence on the other end. After a while, Judy's cautious voice came through. Eric, I really couldn't leave Jim last night. I thought you'd get back on your own. Are you still at the observatory? I'll come get you. I let out a laugh. No need. Big shot. By the time you remembered me, I'd probably be in the ICU already. After saying that, I hung up. In the afternoon, once I was feeling better, I went straight to work. Didn't expect the boss to call me in as soon as I got there and hand me an application form. Eric, I've seen your abilities over the years. It's a shame you passed up previous opportunities. This time there's a spot for you. I hope you make the most of it and don't let me down when you return. You've got a week before you head out. Take some time off to sort out your personal stuff. Suppressing my excitement, I took the form. It wasn't until I submitted the application that the weight lifted off my chest. Another spot got filled, too, by this young girl from our department, Wendy. Everyone in the department was genuinely happy for us and suggested we go out for dinner that night. In 7 years, every time I'd get off work, I'd just rush home to be with Judy. Getting dinner with coworkers was a rare thing for me. Seeing the smiles around me, I agreed. The whole night, I didn't check my phone once, totally immersed in the fun with my coworkers. By the time I got home, it was almost midnight. As soon as I walked in, I saw Judy sitting on the sofa with the lights on. I was a bit surprised. It was her first time waiting for me. Judy looked a bit aggrieved. Eric, I wanted to pick you up from work, but I waited outside your building for ages and didn't see you. I texted you and you didn't reply. Where did you go? Are you mad that I forgot to pick you up last night? I can explain. As soon as I left, Jim started shivering. I couldn't leave him. No need to explain to me. I cut her off. I'm not mad. I just went out with coworkers for dinner tonight and didn't check my phone. Judy paused, seemingly not expecting that reason. Why didn't you tell me you were going to dinner with coworkers? I replied plainly, we're all adults, we should have our own space. No need to tell you everything, right? Upon hearing that, Judy froze. Watching her reaction, I knew she got it. The very same words she once said to me. The first time she didn't come home at night, I sat up in the living room waiting for her all night. The next day, I wanted to ask her where she went, hoping she could tell me next time so I wouldn't worry. But Judy just shot me a cold glance and said, we're all adults. We should have our own space. No need to tell you everything, right? At that moment, my enthusiasm got a cold dousing. Blame me for being foolish. After the third day, when Judy casually told me a friend had a breakup and stayed at her place for comfort, all my anger vanished. I even willingly kept a light on at home waiting for her after that, with no complaints. Thinking back, I was really dumb. Judy realized it too. Her expression was panicky. Eric, I was in a bad mood that time. I didn't mean to say it that way. See, when she's down, she vents at me without restraint. And when she's in a good mood, she'd gesture for me to come back. But she never thought about how hurtful her words were until today. When the knife turned back on her, she realized how much it stings. I gazed at Judy's worried face, free of any emotion, and finally said what I didn't last night. Judy, I'm going abroad for further studies, and Before I could finish, Judy jumped up and questioned me. Why didn't you discuss this with me? What am I supposed to do when you're abroad? Am I just supposed to wait for you all by myself here? I looked at Judy, anger all over her face. Let's break up. You don't need to wait for me. You can be with Jim openly. This was the first time in 7 years I brought up breaking up. Judy's eyes widened. Why break up? Is it because you're going abroad? Do you despise me now? I let out a deep sigh, feeling completely exhausted. Even today, Judy still doesn't realize what her problem is. Judy, we've been together for 7 years. For Jim, you stood me up countless times. You even humiliated me at our wedding. Why would I stay with you? Judy's eyes began to redden, and her voice sounded aggrieved. But Jim has separation anxiety, he's a patient. I've been by his side since we were kids. He can't live without me. I already apologized to you for the wedding day. There's nothing going on between me and Jim. Why can't you understand? Listening to Judy's justifications, I couldn't help but find it all so absurd. Isn't the ultimate stage of a relationship marriage? Judy chose Jim over marrying me, proving I wasn't her priority. Our relationship no longer had meaning. Continuing would feel like I was stepping between her and Jim. I don't care about him. What I know is I've decided to break up. Whatever you have with him isn't my concern. Judy refused to give up, trying to grab my hand. If you must get married, how about we first have an engagement party? We'd be like an engaged couple, just without the certificate. It's no different from being married. She made it sound like I was begging for this. Couldn't help but chuckle. Other couples want to marry quickly after 7 years together. Judy, on the other hand, agreed to an engagement reluctantly, only after I asked to break up. Still, acquiring a marriage certificate seemed like a dream. I shook my head. I don't need it. I don't love you anymore. In these 7 years, my love for you has been drained over and over. Big tears fell down Judy's face as she grabbed my hand with a choked voice. Eric, I really realize my mistake. Let's get our certificate tomorrow. No, now. We'll be the first at the civil office tomorrow. Will you give me one more chance? There was regret written all over Judy's face. I think she's sincerely sorry now. But the gap in our relationship wasn't formed overnight. It grew for 7 years until today when it finally collapsed. There was no saving our love. This time, I didn't gently wipe her tears like I used to. I brushed off her hand instead. Judy, there's no possibility for us anymore. I'm leaving for abroad in a week. Let's part on good terms, I said, closing the door of the guest room behind me. I heard muffled crying outside, yet inside, I felt no emotions. Regrets that arrive late have no use. In the next few days, I focused on packing and ignored Judy entirely. She seemed to hold back words several times, but I acted like I didn't see and focused on my tasks. The day before my departure, Judy asked if I could accompany her somewhere. Thinking of the 7 years we'd been together, I agreed. It felt like closing our chapter perfectly. Once we arrived, I realized it was the park where we first met. Judy held a helium balloon, her eyes glistening with tears. Eric, do you remember this place? It's where we first met. Looking around at the familiar scenery and the balloon, I felt a bit dazed. 7 years ago, in a hurry to my interview, I accidentally bumped into Judy and let her balloon fly away. As I turned to apologize and offer a replacement, she noticed my resume, guessed my interview, just smiled, and told me it was fine without forgetting to mention the time. That smile got stuck in my mind. The interview went very well and I got into my current company. I couldn't stop thinking of Judy, so I returned to the park on my day off, hoping to see her again. Perhaps my prayers were answered because half a month later, there she was. I bought an identical balloon and nervously offered it to Judy, apologizing. To my surprise, she remembered me and burst into laughter. We slowly became familiar from there. I thought, if it weren't for Jim, Judy and I would have been a couple everyone envied. Unfortunately, I only learned about Jim after we got together. By then, I was already deep in love with Judy, unable to leave her, struggling for 7 years until freeing myself now. Eric, I'm willing to go abroad with you. I won't involve myself with Jim's matters anymore. Just forgive me one last time. Okay? Judy's pleading snapped me out of my thoughts. She brought me here, hoping memories would break my resolve. In the past, this place reminded me of our sweet beginning. Standing here now, all I could think of were the years I endured for Jim's sake. 7 years of it, I was done. As if unsure of my disbelief, Judy handed me her phone. Look, I blocked Jim. He won't interfere with us anymore. I've realized Jim should find new friends to support him, not always come to me. I was wrong before. The only person I've ever loved is you. Jim's name was glaring in the blocked list. This was a scene I had wished for over the past 7 years. It's such a huge temptation now that Jim is no longer standing between me and Judy. Judy finally realized she should have Jim see a doctor instead of rushing to him every time he calls. But unfortunately, it's too late. I don't quite get why people only reflect on themselves after they've completely lost someone. As I was about to refuse, a male voice spoke up behind me. Judy, are you going to betray our promise and leave me? When Judy saw Jim, she visibly panicked. How did you find me here? I've told you clearly, if you're sick, go see a doctor. Jim looked hurt. You haven't responded to me in days. I've been waiting outside your building. I saw you leave and followed you. Judy, you're the only medicine I need. As long as you're with me, I won't spiral. Jim grabbed Judy's hand in desperation. Judy frantically broke free and looked at me with pleading eyes. Eric, see? I've been clear with him. It's Jim who's hanging on. I stayed silent. I didn't want to get involved in the tangle between Judy and Jim anymore. Hearing this, Jim looked shocked. Judy, our 20+ years together mean less than the 7 years you've been with him? How can you leave me for him? Judy forcefully slapped Jim. A bright red handprint appeared on his face. I told you we're just friends. The only person I love is Eric. I stayed out of childhood loyalty, but not anymore. Get lost. Then she turned to me. Eric, I've completely ended things with Jim. Will you take me with you tomorrow? I looked at Jim, whose eyes were filled with hatred towards me, and shook my head. Your issues are not my concern, and my issues are none of yours. Ignoring their reactions, I left the park and went home. After double-checking my luggage, I felt more at ease and locked myself in my bedroom. I heard the door open and realized Judy had returned. Her footsteps stopped outside my door, but nothing happened for a long while. I pretended not to know she was there. Only after some time, I heard her leaving. Early the next morning, I dragged my luggage and headed for the airport. I hadn't given Judy any flight details, and I was careful as I left, worried she would follow me. Just as Wendy and I met up to check in, Judy showed up. Eric, I really know I was wrong. Can we get married? Wherever you go, I'll go. I sighed. For the past 7 years, I loved her, but her heart was always with Jim. Now that I don't love her anymore, she's clinging to me. I just don't get what she's thinking. Judy, I've made it clear. We can't go back to how things were. We're both adults. Let's leave things on good terms. With that, I took Wendy's hand and left without looking back. Behind me, I could hear Judy's heart-wrenching cries, but I never turned back, just like how she left me 100 times before. Once seated, Wendy looked at me with a curious, almost teasing gaze. Eric, your ex-girlfriend seemed really upset. Are you really not feeling any sympathy? I shook my head. She's no longer connected to me. Wendy chuckled. That's good. I like someone who handles relationships decisively. This year abroad, we'll need to have each other's backs. Looking at her bright smile, I was caught off guard for a second and then smiled back. All right. Gazing out at the clear blue sky, thinking about a bright future, I knew that from now on, life would be fulfilling and happy.